We will start momentarily. Okay, folks, we'll start momentarily. Just to keep things on schedule. At the moment, we're still awaiting Elder Wanda, but we will start the proceedings, and if she joins in, then we'll take it from there. So I want to thank everyone who is here at the moment. This is historic. It's our first meeting online. And by the way, as the name indicates, I'm Leroy Ennis. I'm the chair of ERDCO currently. And just a quick background on ERDCO while we wait. We're an organization, we've been in existence for over 25 years. So it was founded, I think, in 93 or 94, based on the fact that there are some people who found there's like a lack of resources, or people who can channel you to resources for people who are at the time mostly immigrants. And so they started this organization, and it's been around for a while. ERDCO over the years mostly thrived off grants. And just briefly, when I started, ERDCO at that time was able to get a lot of grants. I think a lot of things have changed. So at that time, when I started, we were able to hire a staff member who would do a lot of the work, but over the years, we don't have that kind of resources. So our current board, we actually have to put in all the work that's necessary to keep it afloat. And we're just hoping that going forward, we can build on what we have. All right, so notwithstanding the fact that we want to keep things on schedule, I will start off with the land acknowledgement, and then I'll do a quick welcome, and then we'll see where we are in terms of our agenda and who is present and how we proceed. Also historic this day, because today is our first online, as we move forward into technology, an online meeting. This is also the first day of reconciliation. So, of course, this gives some meaning to the land acknowledgement that we're gonna do right now. And I guess later on in the meeting, we'll hopefully pay some kind of homage to the people which this day, the Day of Reconciliation, is all about. All right, so I'll start with the land acknowledgement. We would like to acknowledge the sacred land on which this meeting takes place. This land is the territory of the Huron-Wendat and Petone First Nation, the Seneca, and most recently, the Mississaugas of the Credit River. The territory was subject of the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, an agreement between the Iroquois Confederacy and the Confederacy of the Ojibwa and allied nation to peaceably share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. Today, this meeting place of Toronto is still home to many Indigenous people across Turtle Island, and we're grateful to have the opportunity to meet and present in this community on this territory. So indeed, we are grateful for the opportunity to be here in this land. Canada, of course, the history is not always one that's stellar, as we all know, and especially when it comes to the people who actually own the land. So we're still waiting to see if the elder will make it. So I'll just do a little bit of opening for this event. All right, everyone. So welcome to 2021 AGM Annual General Meeting for ERDCO. And that acronym stands for Ethno-Racialized People with Disabilities Coalition of Ontario. This is the first meeting in this type of format, so I'm sure it's a learning curve for all of us. But we're very happy to be back and to be presenting because of the times, of course. COVID ravaged this world, and last year we were not able to meet. Normally, our meeting would be in the spring, so roughly March. But of course, we were probably under some serious lockdown them times. So, of course, also lockdown or not, we could have always done Zoom, but we're learning and we're catching up to the technology, and we'll grasp it as we move forward. Because I think as things dictate, I guess we have no option but to move with the world today. And I guess we're living in a technological society, a society where we'll have, artificial intelligence and all kinds of stuff that know more about us than we know. They're all smart devices nowadays. So some of us are catching up, myself included. So, and we're hoping to build a team with people who can help us to move forward in that direction. I'm still looking around. I guess the elder isn't here yet. So we will proceed to something else on the agenda. And then if and when the elder gets here, then we will, of course, try and insert her into the programming. All right, so as mentioned before, September 30th, 2021 is a day of reconciliation. I saw something today from someone at work, just her signature on her email, and she said, before, or something about, we can have the reconciliation, but we actually need, to discover the truth. And I think for a lot of these children that we're having this day to, I wouldn't say commemorate, but to acknowledge all the stuff, atrocities and other stuff that they faced, I would like us to take just a minute or two just to observe the moment. So just have like a minute of silence as we remember like all those people who, for whatever reason, they didn't make it back home. So if we can just take a minute and observe, a minute of silence just to observe the moment. Okay. And I'd set a timer, but of course my minute was an hour, so this is a rough estimate. Okay, folks, so we will move forward with the agenda. And for those who registered, we had sent the agenda out so you guys could just preview it. It also sent out the minutes, I think, from our last AGM, which was not 2020, but was 2019. So at this moment, I'd just like anyone who maybe had a chance to look at it to help us by approving the agenda that we put forth for the meeting today. Then we can move forward. Okay, so if anyone out there had a look at the agenda and just want to probably raise hand or type in the chat or something just to approve.
We need a mover and a seconder.
So we need someone to move to approve the agenda for this meeting.
Oh, I so move that we approve the agenda for this meeting.
That was Sharon, thank you. And
I second it.
thank you, Ron. That was Ron. All right, so the agenda for this meeting has been approved. All right, and the other thing that we're looking for approval for is
Leroy, can I just
interject? Yeah, go ahead.
Usually when we are all present and a motion is put forward, we ask if people are in favor of the motion, but because right now we're in this Zoom world, what we're going to ask is in the negative. Does anybody oppose to the approval of the agenda? So then if somebody actually is opposed, then we're hoping would be the minority, then maybe somebody can put it on the chat, right? And that way, if no one opposes the approval of the agenda, we can assume that it is indeed approved.
Very good point. So does anyone oppose the approval of the agenda just put forward? If so, you can let it be known now. So we should assume that silence means that it's okay. All right, thanks everyone. Also, for the people who registered, we had sent out the minutes from our last AGM 2019. So at this moment, if anyone out there would want to make a motion to approve those minutes from 2019, followed by a seconder, we can get that done. So anyone wants to approve those minutes?
I so move that we accept the minutes from the 2019 annual general meeting as presented.
Thank you, Sharon. And a
I
seconder?
second it.
Thank you,
I
Ron.
second it.
Okay, thank you, Ron. And in the same tradition as before, like this is the first time we're doing this format, so is there any objection or to this motion on the floor right now? If so, just voice your concerns. Okay. So it sounds like we're good with those items. All right, everyone. So once again, welcome. We will have to skip some of those items on the agenda just because the participants are not present at the moment. So we'll just move forward. And if it so happens that they show up, then we can always go back and do some catching up or insert them into the program. And not sure what's going on, but hopefully, especially the elder, that she's safe and she'll be able to join us because she was supposed to do the blessing at the opening at the meeting, but we can do that whenever she gets here. All right, so we'll move forward now. And next up is the chair's report. And of course, that's done by yours truly, Leroy Ennis. Okay. So hi, everyone, again. My name is Leroy Ennis, and I'm the chair of ERDCO. On this historic day, the first ever National Day of Reconciliation, we want to honor the people who own this land. Their history is not a good one, but as we all know, today is hopefully the start of a process to atone for the many years of abuse, separation from family and culture. The news that hundreds of graves, many unmarked, were recently discovered has unearthed the secrets of our society for many of us to see. Of course, this was no secret for those who endured the suffering. It was no secret for their families. All right, and then onto just some of the recent ERDCO stuff, and then we'll revert back. Due to COVID-19 and the lockdown measures, ERDCO did not hold an AGM, which is the annual general meeting, in 2020, and very little activity has happened in this year. However, we were able to complete 2 diabetes prevention programs with grants from the Toronto Public Health just before they declared the pandemic. The first ran from November 7th to December 12th, 2019, and the second from February 1st to March 8th, 2020. So obviously just before the lockdown. We had a total of 24 participants, and the first session was delivered with ASL, English interpretation. Toronto Public Health trained members of our community. These members were the ones who led the information sessions about dieting and other healthy habits to prevent diabetes. Our other partners in these diabetes programs were Vibrant Health and CSACS. And of course, the X is formerly Ryerson, so they're the continuing education students at the former Ryerson. ERDCO is a part of the GTA Coalition, a group of about a dozen organizations who advocate for and provide services to people with disabilities. The meeting happened quarterly, and ERDCO has been able to support those making deputation to the city budget, accessible housing, and accessible transportation. This year, the City of Toronto's vaccine program included an accessibility component, thanks to lobbying from members of the GTA Coalition. ERDCO delivered a webinar entitled Barriers to COVID Vaccine, and we have 2 ambassadors that are part of this program. These ambassadors are trained by the city and attend frequent forums. They then interact with our community to share information and gather feedback. ERDCO is focusing on our racialized disabled community and concerns, barriers, or questions that they have surrounding the city's vaccination program. We will continue this engagement process for approximately 1 more month. With the many COVID waves, we had to cancel last year's general meeting. This year, we have advanced. Our general meeting for this year is in a virtual format. Now that many things in the digital world are more familiar, we'll be looking to expand our technological reaches. In the near future, we would like to utilize social media and other platforms to reach a broader audience, to fundraise, among other ventures. I believe that we will be doing our meeting in this format for years to come. That include our monthly board meetings. Hopefully, some of us will be on board. Some of us on the board will catch up with the technology. Going forward, we hope to build on the partnerships we've had over the years. Our partners have been crucial to our operations. As a grassroots organization with limited resources at the moment, we're grateful for the organizations that have partnered with us to serve our community. I would like to recognize the contributions of our members, our board members that is. So there's Janet Rodriguez, Sharon Henry, Joni Cowie, Ron Kelman, and yours truly. These individuals have volunteered their time and efforts to ERDCO. We appreciate the time spent away from family, work, and life's commitments and ailments. We look forward to the new additions. They have all indicated that they will stay, and so these are the older people. They've all indicated that they will stay on to help with the transition. Some of us are doing additional terms to help recruit others to pass the torch and to advance the values on which ERDCO was founded. And those include inclusivity, equity, and caring for our community. Our world today is going through an experience like none I have seen before in my lifetime. In times like these, I would recommend that we be as safe as possible. As we move forward, we can work towards making the world a safer space for everyone. It will not happen in a day or a week, but I encourage all to be considerate of safety and precautionary measures that will help us to get past these perilous times. I want to encourage further advocacy for our disabled community. I will do my best over the coming year to keep ERDCO's present relevant in the conversation about accessibility and other issues affecting our community. I want to once again bring attention to this day of reconciliation. The truth is that the recent discoveries did not tell the entire history. Imagine the children, the abuse, the anxiety, the longing for comfort of home, the escape efforts, and the results of the unsuccessful attempts, the punishment, the death. Reconciliation is the goal, but we cannot get to it without knowing the truth, which is of utmost importance. The truth is, a lot of systemic oppression was endorsed by entities in our society that were held in high places because of religious or political statuses. I want to urge all to engage in learning about the Truth. The Truth and Reconciliation Commission issued a report and 94 calls to action in 2015. Today's national holiday was call to action number 80. There are more, and we can learn about it. And there's a link there. Maybe we'll try to provide that. I'm not sure if Janet will be able to, but we'll try to provide that for you later. These children, innocent victims of many societal values that should be dismantled to make our world better. May their souls rest in peace, and to their families, may you find comfort wherever you can. So that's my report for this year. I don't know, man, that's kind of sobering when I think about it. Not sure how to put it in words. So I will pause it for there and continue with the agenda that we're on. So the next thing on the agenda would be for someone to have a motion to accept the chair's report. Of course, seconded.
I would like to be the motion, Leroy. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. It was really sobering listening to your chairman's speech this evening. Thank you very much.
Okay, and the seconder?
I can second
Thanks, Janet.
Janet.
And is there anyone that's not in agreement and want to state that now? Or any concerns? Okay, maybe not. Before we move forward, that link that I mentioned is pasted in the chat for everyone to see. All right. So at the end of the report, I talked about a link that you can access to get more information. So Janet had provided that in the chat. All right, thanks everyone. So we'll move forward. And I'm still assuming the elder is not here yet. All right. So next item up will be the financial report by our treasurer, Sharon Henry. Over to you, Sharon.
Thank you, Leroy. Good evening, everyone. As you know, my name is Sharon Henry, and I'm here to present the financial report. So I'm going to take you back to a little over 2.5 years ago. And in 2019, March 30th, $941.11 was paid to several individuals who attended the peer leadership sessions put on by Toronto Public Health Department in preparation for the type 2 diabetes awareness and prevention sessions that would begin later that year. And Leroy already alluded to those. April 2019, $303.48 was paid to BMS Risk Services Limited, and that's our insurance as a board. And it is linked to a Volunteer Canada program. May to July 2019, there were no expenditures. August 2019, $150 was paid to Volunteer Canada. And that's the insurance, is the membership that ERCO has with this insurance group for coverage from September 2019 to August 2020. September 2019 to October 2019, there were no expenditures. November 2019, $1,686.52 was paid to several individuals who participated in the type 2 diabetes awareness and prevention sessions that were provided to the public. December 2019, $1,594.93 was again paid to several individuals who participated in the type 2 diabetes awareness and prevention sessions. So I bring you now to January 2020. There were no expenditures in that month. The month of February, $510 paid to several individuals who participated in the type 2 diabetes awareness and prevention sessions that occurred at the end of 2019. So in February, we were clearing up all of the outstanding balances that needed to be paid to individuals who participated in, I believe there were 6 sessions that were put on. March 2020, $1,619.55 was paid to several individuals who participated in type 2 diabetes awareness and prevention sessions that occurred at the end of 2019. And this was the final payment for all of the 6 sessions, right? So note, all the funds spent on the peer leadership training and type 2 diabetes prevention, ASL interpreters, meals, honorariums, transportation, tokens, tickets, materials, PSWs, and a coordinator were all paid by the $7,000 grant received from Toronto Public Housing in February 2018. Now, we had to make sure that we spent that money in 2019. Otherwise, we would have to give it back to Toronto Public Health. So that brings us to March 2020. There was no AGM, as Leroy has mentioned. And this again was due to the coronavirus. Therefore, no further expenditures in March and up to and including July. So in August 2020, $150 was paid to Volunteer Canada, and that was for coverage from September 2020 to August 2021 to continue our board insurance coverage. In addition, in August, $332.03 was paid to ERDCO's credit card as a final payment and closing of the credit card by TD Bank. Now, this closure of the credit card was due to the interest amount of $4.95 that was past due for several months. It was quite, shocking to Leroy and I that they would close our account because of this minimal amount of interest that was due. So they said it was their policy and we had to abide by their policy. So currently ERDCO does not have a credit card, and that's something that we think we might be looking at going forward. September 2020 to December 2020, there were no expenditures. And so we come here into 2021. January to February, again, there were no expenditures. March 2021, $306.72 was paid to BMS Canada Risk Services Limited. Again, that has to do with board insurance. April to May, there were no expenditures. June 2021, $7,225 was deposited to our account. $6,725 was received from SILT, Center for Independent Living in Toronto. $500 was received from CSER, the Continuing Education Students Association of the former Ryerson. July 2021, $1,445.50 was paid to two organizations, Deaf Spectrum and Canadian Hearing Services, and participants in COVID-19 information session for the community. And this was through the $7,225 grant from Toronto Public Housing. August 2021, $150 was paid to Volunteer Canada, again for our insurance as members. As of September 30th, 2021, we have a balance in our account of $10,931.84, comprised of the Community Plan Plus account has $9,920.57, and the Business Investment account has $1,011.27. Now, I should mention that this account was necessary for us to have a credit card. So we can continue with this account as is and get a credit card, or we can transfer these funds into the other account. And that's something that the board will be looking at going forward. Please note that no agencies were solicited to provide an audit of our accounts due to the limited amount on hand. And this amount was only increased by the grants for specific reasons. So we didn't want to pay out in the range of $1,500 for someone to come in and do our books when we didn't really have a lot of money in our account. If it was in the $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 range, then by all means, we would have paid that money for someone to come in and audit. But we can see the bank statements, they're there, and we see the money and the checks coming in, and there's a balance. So we saved ERCO some money, okay? So having said that, I would like to put a motion forward. I so move that the March 2019 to September 30th, 2021 Treasurer's Report be accepted as read and presented.
I accept it, Janet, as presented and read.
Sharon.
I'm sorry, Sharon. I'm sorry. My apologies.
That's okay. Thank you.
I can second that. Thanks, Sharon.
Okay. You're welcome.
So well presented. We appreciate the work you do, Sharon. I know you keep it tight, and so that's good. And just for clarity's sake too, because I know there's some people here. So the ambassadors, I'm going to try and get in touch with you so we can clear up whatever we have in terms of your outstanding amounts for your presentation. So I'm messaging them now so we can talk about it and we can deal with Sharon and get out that straightened out. Because one thing, ambassadors, you know, that we have the funds that we were provided to pay you, and that will definitely happen. So don't worry about it. Get in touch with me so we can work on the technicalities so we can present to Sharon. Because as you can see, our treasurer, she keeps everything on record and she wants everything done meticulously, which is very good. And just on a side note, Sharon is actually sticking around for longer because, you know, she wanted to move forward. Her term and extra term are over, but graciously she want to stay on to help with the transition, like so many of us here. So thanks, Sharon. That's appreciated.
You're welcome.
Okay.
So if anyone's interested in joining the board and becoming a treasurer, I'll be more than happy to work with you and get you up to speed and hand over the reins.
Okay. Thanks very much, Sharon.
You're welcome.
Okay. So I think we're just gonna move forward. So, oh, and by the way, before we do move forward, was there any objections to Sharon's report? I think the silence means that there's a...
Or any questions?
Okay.
Yeah, or any questions that anyone may have?
Any questions for Sharon before we move forward? Maybe not. Okay, thanks everyone. Okay, so as you all know, we are trying to expand, and so this year we had 2 participants who so far who presented their resume and a quick bio. One was supposed to be here. I don't think I see him. And the other had just sent a response. We sent out a few questions and asked for a brief bio. So I will present that one for now, so everybody can have an idea of the background of the people that are looking to join. And as per the bylaw, we'll present them to our membership. And if anyone has any objections, then they can state it after. So person number one is Chena Barakat. Okay, Chena Barakat is a manager within the Equity, Diversity and Inclusion Department at the Children's Aid Society of Toronto and has been at CAST, that's an acronym, CST, for over 10 years. Previously, she worked in the Caribbean. She worked in the Caribbean in the international development in the social sector. Chena has a bachelor's in management and an MBA and is a certified human resource leader. Her career has been focused on organizational and community development with aims of promising better outcomes for disadvantaged groups. Chena continues to work using anti-oppressive, anti-racist, and equity frameworks and is committed to forging positive changes. Chena is a racialized woman with an invisible disability and is excited to be a part of our organization's vision of advancing the social inclusion, rights, and the diverse voices of ethno-racial people with disabilities. So that was her brief bio, and we had a few questions. All right, so just bear in mind that we're an organization that's grassroots, and we're at the intersection basically of race and all these things, disabilities. So we had a few questions that we put forth, and she responded. What experience, so this is question number one, what experience have you had in working with an organization that represents people of many identities, whether it's race, sexual orientation, or religious beliefs? And the answer, this is my norm as I grew up in a multiracial and multicultural society and now live in Toronto, which has the same traits. As such, I've only worked with organizations that had a diverse staff and clients. I believe that we need to be inclusive at work and in our communities. Another question. What experience have you had in being a part of a board or working group? And the answer, I have reported and done presentation to boards and working boards committee in the past. In the past, at the project, I think that's as a project manager for HRIS in 2016, I reported to the Audit and Finance Committee on the project. As an evaluator for Guyana Watch, a medical outreach program, I present evaluation reports on the impact of each concluded clinic. What are the top 2 skills that you bring to EARDCO was the next question. And it says project management and human resources. And then the final question we had, are you willing to maintain confidentiality in dealing with members of our community that we interact with? And their answer, yes. And I do respect the need for confidentiality and privacy. So unfortunately, she had other commitments and she was not able to be here to present for herself today. So with that in mind, I want to just present Chena to our membership. And as per our bylaw, our membership will help us to, vote on or decide on bringing people on board. I think that, and Janet, you can help me with this one. Maybe the strategy we can use here is if there are any objections, then people can just raise that and then we could take it from there. So are there anyone out there with any objections or any considerations that we should take into effect in terms of bringing Chena on board? Any?
There's no opposition. Okay,
Okay.
the motion carries.
All right. So when we contact her, we'd like to welcome her to the board. We do need a lot more people to help out. And from what we've seen so far, in my opinion, she looks like she's willing to contribute. And according to her bio and answers, have some tools that we could utilize going forward. The other person said he would be here, so, and I don't think I saw any response to those questions, but the name is Oda Alzini. At this moment, because my expectation was that that Oda would be here, so I'm not sure why he's not. I don't have any information other than the stuff on his resume to present. So I'm thinking, and maybe Janet or any other board members can help me with my thought process here, is that because of the limited information that I have to present now, this is something that the board might have to decide on as a board in terms of, because I think it will have to apply for anybody else that will come on board after this meeting. Unfortunately, over the years, I guess we've been working short, and we do need, a few more members to even get to our usual amount. There's 5 of us right now, and of course, with that 5, it includes people that have ailments, so all that stuff, life. And so we're trying to see if we can get back to something close to normal.
They are just joining right now.
Who
Oda
is-
is just joining right now.
Oh, nice. Oda, are you there? If you can hear, you can unmute. So that's perfect timing if he's actually here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, brilliant. So we had a discussion before, and I just mentioned you because you are one of 2 people that we want to present to the membership in terms of people who are willing to help out on the board. So everyone had spoken to Oda before and just asked for a brief bio so that he can present that on his own. And I'm not sure if you saw those questions I sent today, if you have answers to those questions, you can also fill us in. So I'll turn the floor over to you, Oda. Oda, if you're there, you can go ahead. Just give us a brief bio.
Oh, sorry about that. I was muted.
Okay,
Okay, you can hear me now?
yes.
Yes. So yes, my name is Oda. I have a spinal cord injury. I've had one since I was 11 years old. I have a bachelor's in a BA in English literature. I have a beautiful girlfriend. I live in Toronto. I'm a very active person. I work for Spinal Cord Injury Ontario, and it's been a very fulfilling part of my life the past few years because I'm able to work with other people with disabilities and provide them with information and resources, as well as provide people with equipment that they very much need. And as you all probably know, there's very little funding here. So yeah, I'm looking for things that I'm passionate about, and that's why I interested me in this group. That's a little about me.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Were you able to preview those questions?
Yes, I was. I don't have them in front of me right now.
Okay, I could just run through them quickly and you could just give us brief answers. Okay.
Actually, I just pulled it up. Or sure, you can ask
Okay,
me, no problem. Go
Okay,
ahead.
so the first one is, What experience have you had in working with organizations that represent people with identities, whether it's race, sexual orientation, or religious belief?
The experience I have is working for the nonprofit organization I work for now, which is Spinal Cord Injury Ontario, and we represent people of all abilities and all ethnicities and uh, all representations, yeah, uh, that's my experience.
Okay. And then another question, what experience have you had in being part of a board or working group?
As part of my work with Spinal Cord Injury Ontario, we have task forces, and that's the closest experience that I have. And as part of the task force, I'm in the EDI task force, which is equity, diversity, and inclusion. And yeah, we meet like this, and we have discussions, and we put forward, uh, uh, agendas about inclusion and diversity in the workplace and our workplaces in particular.
Okay. And then what are 2 skills you bring to EarthCo?
The first one is part of my job. It's being very good with information and resources. I'm very good at cataloging information and providing resources. So I would like to think my skills in research are pretty good, especially digital online research. I'm good with that. And another skill is my lived experience as a person with a disability. I'm able to speak with other people with disabilities and relate on a lived experience level.
Okay, thanks. And one final question. Are you willing to maintain confidentiality in dealing with members of our community that we interact with?
Yeah, definitely. I believe in privacy and confidentiality, and for sure, I'm willing to do that.
Okay, thanks, Oda. And I guess from speaking with you, you seem to have some kind of knowledge in doing some videos and productions like that. We might be calling on you for that.
Oh, for sure. That's the fun stuff.
Okay, so to the general membership, that was Oda. Thank you, Oda. So as before, I think we'll just put it this way. Are there any objections or any questions from the membership regarding having Oda come on board? I want to take it that means no. All right. So with that, I would like to say welcome, Oda, and also to Chenna whenever we get around to responding to her. All right, folks. So I think it's now official that we will be 2 more members moving forward from 2021 currently. So Oda, how do you pronounce your last name, Oda?
It's
Alenzini?
Al Anisi.
Okay. And also we have just 1 second. We had Chenna Barakat as well. All right, folks. So this will take us to the part in our program where we'll have an intermission and we'll get ready for the second half. How long is the intermission going to be, Janet?
It's 5 minutes.
Okay, so stretch your legs and we will see you in 5 minutes. Thanks, everyone.
Welcome, Chair. Welcome. Oda.
Okay, we'll see you in 5 minutes. Okay. All right. I think we can resume. Or maybe give it like 1 minute, but yeah, we have to keep in mind that time is also essential here. Okay, all right, next up, we will have our keynote speaker for today, all right? From my understanding, the bio is brief, but we will wait to hear from Carl. Okay, so our next presenter is a father and a community leader and an author. He is none other than Carl Subban. So Carl, whenever you're ready, the floor is over to you.
Thank you very much, Leroy. Hello and good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me. I'm sending special thanks to Ron Kalman and for Janet Rodriguez for paving the way for me to spend some time with you this evening. You know, I do a lot of public speaking. This is the first time ever, by the way, I've ever sent an outline before, and I understand why. So I'm an inspirational speaker. So, I mean, it's very difficult to inspire when you're looking down at your notes every now and then. And I understand why I need to stay to the script as much as I can. I normally speak about the big theme of potential. And so that's what I'll be speaking about tonight with you. I believe it's connected to the work that you're doing. And obviously, all the clients you're servicing, they have potential in my life too. You know, the work I've done and in terms of working with children. So yes, tonight I'm speaking to you about potential. And it's the same potential that the indigenous children who attended residential schools did not have the opportunity to fulfill. And that's why today is so special, as you know, and everyone's aware of it. So many of those young people did not make it home. And the opportunity to create a future, like so many of us are doing today, was taken away from them. And you know, so I just wanted to acknowledge the day and the moment that we're all experiencing today. But I also want to acknowledge the work you're doing. You know, what is potential? And, you know, when you Google it, and you're going to come up basically with the same definition. It's having or showing the capacity, to develop into something in the future. And as you know, those residential kids, they never had that future. And I like to share the stats. There are approximately 8 billion people on planet Earth, including in that 8 billion are 6,000 Canadians who identified as having a disability. And all of them, everyone has potential. And that's why I'm speaking about it tonight. Everyone has potential. You know, we're all born with it. And I love telling children that. You know, you were born with potential. It was your gift at birth. And when they believe in their potential and working to fulfill it, we all know that our communities become better and our world is obviously a better place. You know, I've spent over 30 years doing something that I'm passionate about, that is working with young people in 3 worlds. parenting, I have 5 children, teaching, worked with hundreds, if not thousands of children, and also coaching, you know, coaching school teams. I coach hockey in the GTHL, guy from Jamaica, coaching hockey in the GTHL for over 10 years. But I learned that the primary reason for doing all those things was to help those young people to believe in their potential and to help them to work to fulfill it. You know, my story and our family's story, you know, it's been told. And really, people ask, Carl, how did you and Maria manage to do it? How did you manage to raise 3 boys who were drafted and signed by NHL teams? You know, right away I say, well, they weren't born with the hockey genes. I was born in Jamaica, and my wife Maria was born in Montserrat. You know, so our geography didn't help us at all. And if you're not aware of the odds of your son making the NHL, it's slim to none. So the math wasn't on our side. And you know, we weren't born into hockey night in Canada, so we had no history. So what was it? What was it? The only thing that I could use and rely on to explain it was the word potential. Was the word potential. And you know, so I'm not advertising my book, Leroy, but and Janet and everyone, if you can see it, I'll sign this book and I'll share it to Ron. This is for your organization. This is, you know, the Team Subban story from my seat, from my driver's seat. And I'd love to sign it over to the group and give you a copy of it. You know, some beliefs I'd like to share with you. And I'm still working. I retired from TDSB and I'm working in a private school, you know, sharing the same message. Let me share with you some belief statements that I think it's also important to the work you're doing. I said before, everyone was born with potential. No one missed out on it. Everyone was born with it. It is through that lens I see every child. It is through that lens which I see every child. Okay? When you're seeing them through that lens called their potential, you're telling them you can learn, you can grow, and you can develop over time. Wow, what a powerful message. What a powerful message. Also, I'm telling them you can do more, and you can be more, and you can become more. And I will usually give them the tools, because kids need the tools today. They need the beliefs, and they need the tools to make those beliefs actionable. And that's my job as an educator. But those are some of my beliefs, but here's the last one. And I say this a lot, you know, because I lived a life where people underestimated Carl Subban. And I want to say to this group tonight, this is my line. You can underestimate Carl Subban, but don't make the mistake of underestimating his potential. Because I'm going to prove you wrong. And that's the mindset, you know, we want people to have, you know. And, you know, everyone is aware, and everyone online tonight, this is not news. You're aware of the barriers that people with disabilities face. You're aware of those barriers that people with disabilities are facing. And these barriers are more significant today because of the pandemic. You know, when we started in the pandemic, I read something the other day, someone said, well, we all started in the same boat. And after a while, the boats of some people looked very different. And, you know, we know, we can point our fingers which boats are different, especially people from marginalized communities. And I'll touch more on that. You know, we know people with disabilities are Many are dealing with isolation today, and many are, but they seem to be getting their more than their share. They're dealing with isolation. They don't have enough employment opportunities. If so many people are not working because the opportunity is no longer there because of the pandemic. You know, we know that the people you're servicing, the clients you're servicing, talk about the lack of support. It's even worse now. That support system is not as strong as it used to be. You know, and so that's why the work that your group is doing is so important. It's so important to so many of your clients fulfilling their potential. You know, that's your business, to help them to fulfill their potential. I go to school every day to help young people to fulfill their potential. And so your work is so important. And, you know, you have been doing the work, and you continue to do the work that will bring about the changes that will make a difference in the lives of so many. And it's this time in my presentation, I normally say, and we have a group here, and I heard you've been understaffed and probably underfunded, but you know, your determination and perseverance have not weathered. But I want to tell you, because you're like educators, you are making a difference. You are making a difference. And I don't know how many times you take some time to say to yourselves, I am making a difference. And I normally do this, I'm gonna do it now. All right, I want you to just take 2 seconds to say to yourselves, because I do that at school every day. You know what I mean? And because sometimes I have to do that to get some reinforcement, because sometimes you don't see it, but you are. So can you just take 2 seconds to say to yourselves, I am making a difference. Thank you. Now, I don't know if you can see everyone on the screen. I can see some of you. I'm gonna point to Ron over there. And on 3, I want you to point to someone, and you're gonna say, you're making a difference. All right, because we need to pick each other up. All right, so you've already told yourself you are, and we have to. I've worked in schools where I never thought I was. But I learned later that, you know what, Carl? You were making a difference. And many of you, I know have been in the same boat. So what I want you to do now, I'm pointing at Ron, point at someone, and on 3, you're gonna say, you are making a difference. 1, 2, 3,
Leroy,
you
you're
are
making a
making a
difference.
difference. Thank you. Wow.
You are making a difference, Leroy.
All right, thank you. And you know, it's important that you lift yourselves up and lift each other up. And that's what I do. That's my job, because leaders inspire. And if I'm a leader tonight, it's my job to inspire you. And that's how I go about doing it. You know, we just had the Olympic Games and this summer games, and then we had the Paralympics. And I read some articles about it, and if I didn't do some reading, I would not have known this. You know, so many of these Olympians, you know, they believe in their potential. You might say, Carl, yeah, they do. Yeah, they do believe. Let me tell you why that they feel this about their potential. You know, they reject, these Paralympians, they reject the idea that they should be admired just for coping with their disabilities. They don't want any pity. They don't want anyone to admire them because they seem to be coping with their disabilities, and not for what they've accomplished on the track, on the ice, on the field, and in the pool. They want to be recognized and admired for their accomplishments. That's why it's so important that we need to continue focusing on potential. I came across while I was preparing for your presentation, and I love to prepare because I went online and I read some of your stuff, but I came across this. I'm not sure exactly where. It's not mine, but I'm going to share it with you. And I think, attitudes defeats obstacles. Wow. Attitudes defeats obstacles. And those Paralympians, they have the right attitude. People are placing obstacles in their way, and it's their mindset. It's their mindset, that is, that is making a difference. And that's why I tell people this everywhere I go. I tell this to young people. I no longer tell them to believe in themselves. You might say, Carl, what did you just say? I don't tell them to believe in themselves because the world is doing a great job beating them up. You know what I tell them? Believe in your potential. You were born with it. It was a blessing at birth. And, I usually give them the tools to work to fulfill it. I want to share a couple of things with you. A couple of those lessons I learned along the way, some things that I think might help some of the people online. Because, as an educator, kids are so different and they have different needs, different experiences, different backgrounds. And I have to find a way to inspire them. So I want to share 3 things with you. Number 1, your identity should not predict or determine your outcomes, your life outcome. Your identity should not predict or determine life outcomes. I learned that lesson in hockey because, you didn't always feel like you were in the right place or a safe space or and I was born in Jamaica. That's why our story. And by the way, success is when you use it to help others to be successful. And if people see us as being successful, that's fine. And I like telling our story to inspire others. And so this is one lesson I learned, that I didn't want Carl Subban or his 5 children not to succeed or achieve in life because of the color of her skin. My granddaughter had an accident at birth. I remember crying the day she had her operation and she was in a body cast, not even one. And her shoulder is still not right, but her life will be right. So I know what I'm talking about. That will not determine her outcomes in life. She's gonna succeed and achieve. I see her doing cartwheels and it's unbelievable. The second thing I want to share with you tonight is, by the way, it doesn't matter where you're from or your address or your last name. It's your potential that's going to define you. It's your potential that's going to define Carl Subban, not the color of his skin. My granddaughter Angelina, Christina Maria Subban Gaynor, it's going to be her potential, not what she's working through, that's going to define her. If anything, it's going to make her stronger. And that's how I approach life. The second point I want to share with you, I love this quote by Martin Luther King. Most of the time I read it during Black History Month, but I want to read it every day because kids need to hear this. We all need to hear this. And you've heard it before, but I'm going to read it here. If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. There's enough people trying to hold you back. You got to keep moving forward. And you got to know when distractions are in the way and find a way to navigate them. All right, I love that quote by Martin Luther King. Whatever you do, just keep moving forward. I don't want to stop, and I haven't stopped. The last thing is number 3. You have my notes there. The third point I want to speak to you about is what is stopping you? What is stopping you? What is stopping you from doing what you want to do? What is stopping you from becoming what you want to become or who you want to become? So I love telling this story to young people. I'll be in a gymnasium, auditorium, 1,000 young people are in there. And I tell them the story. When PK was told by a coach after his game, he said, PK, you'll never make it in hockey. You'll never go as far as I did. Then I'll ask them, did the coach's words stop PK? And they'll say, no, Mr. Subban. I said, I can't hear you. And they'll all shout together on 3, 1, 2, 3. No, Mr. Subban. And you know, those goosebumps are out all over me now. And then I ask them, what is stopping you? What is stopping you? What is stopping you? We know there are obstacles. We know there are hurdles. We know there are challenges. But guess what? You were born with potential. And I want to thank this group, Ethno-Racial People with Disabilities Coalition of Ontario. And Mr. Kelman, I got it right. I've been practicing. I just want to thank you very much. It was a great pleasure sharing my message around potential. And I also wanted to speak to you and to commend you for the work you're doing and that you'll continue to do. And nothing is stopping you, even though you're short, maybe on funds and other resources and bodies, but you're moving forward. I'm so happy I got this quote for you, and I'll have this book. I'll sign it, give it to Mr. Kelman to pass it on to the group, if that's okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Subban.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, indeed. I like that. Very inspiring. You know, potential is something we're all born with, and potential, I guess, it's something we all need to build on to realize certain things. You know, I guess life isn't always going to be a bed of roses, but you know, we have to do what we can to achieve what we can. So I do like that message. You know,
Thank you
and
very much.
I thank you for being a part of our AGM and putting that message out there, especially for people with disabilities that might ring true, because the barriers are so many, you know, and it's easy just to be faced with all the anxieties and all the stuff when facing a world out there where you're not seeing for your potential, for sure, because there's so much more that's in front that people are looking at, the fact that maybe you can't do certain things. So they're seeing your limitations without really looking beyond those limitations to see the potential. So I actually like that message very much. Thank you, Carl.
Yeah, thank you very much, team. Thank you for having me, and keep up the good work.
Yeah, nice hearing from you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you guys have a fundraiser, I don't mind signing a couple books for you guys to action off. If so, I don't mind doing that for your group. I do have a couple extras, so let me know. And,
all right.
I'll be more than happy to do that.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
That sounds
All right,
good.
have a good evening.
All right, thank you, Carl.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, everyone. Thanks very much. We're at the point where most of the formal stuff is pretty much over. I will conclude at this point in time that the elder wasn't able to make it for whatever reason. Hope everything is good with her. I would have really loved that opportunity for someone from the community to be here to really bless this gathering, but wasn't in the works today. So we will move forward. At this point in time, before we go on to do the thank yous and close, I'm not sure if Jan's available, because she's pretty good at helping with these things. But we would like to open the floor up for some discussion for maybe like 15 minutes if we can. So Janet, if you can help me to moderate that, that would be great, because that's one of your strong
Sure.
points.
No worry.
So
Yeah,
if,
sure, we can do that. I'm gonna keep my video closed though, because my internet is unstable.
okay, cool. All
So
right,
you can
so
put your name on the chat if you have a question, or write your question on the chat. Or if you are signing, you can open your video. That way we can see you signing. And hi, Tanya. Yeah, it's nice to see you too. Anybody has any questions,
suggestions, any other things?
comments? This is the first time we're doing this, so everything is new. You liked it, didn't like it. Please, we want to hear the good, the bad, and the ugly, everything.
I agree. Just to fill the gap until if somebody's going to step up, I'm not sure. But if not, that's fine too. This is like our very first, online meeting. I guess, as mentioned before, we're kind of moving with the times. So we're probably catching up to everyone else. Maybe thanks to COVID that we have to adjust. It's somewhat unfortunate that we're not able to meet in person, because that would be also a fantastic thing, the social aspect of it. But it's also good that you can chill out in the comfort of your home and be present with us, so we can look at it that way. The potential is there for us to build on this day, and build on what we have going forward. So we do have that potential, as Carl mentioned. So, hey, Kylie. All right, I'll let Kylie put forth her question. She has to do it through the interpreter, so I'll just give them the floor.
Hi, Kylie. You can type your question, or you can sign it. Ayat probably can make sure you're in.
I anticipate that Kylie is trying to put a question forward. Okay. So Tanya has a question. She wants to know which board members are deciding to move on. When will there be someone to replace them? Okay, so at the moment, everyone on the board has decided that they're going to stick around for a little bit longer. Some of us are beyond our term, which is usually 2 years. And some of us have done 2 years times a few more. I know, so the consensus I have from the people on the board right now is they're willing to help with the transition. And as mentioned with Sharon earlier, Sharon really had some other stuff that she really should be going on to. And I was really struggling to figure out how we're going to manage without her. And then she stepped up and said, hey, I can't just leave you hanging. So with any luck, we'll be able to help Sharon to transition into her next phase, because she's been with EarthCo. I want to feel like it's like about 5 or 6 years, Sharon, and the term is usually 2. and she really had some other stuff going on in her life. She wanted to move forward like a couple years ago. Of course, the pandemic brought a pause to a lot of that, so we were stagnant. But here we are. I wasn't sure if Sharon was going to be moving on, but she's sticking around for a little bit more. And so there'll be no one being replaced right now. As a matter of fact, we're looking to make up the numbers. When I came on board, we had, I think, 11 or 12. So now we're at 5, plus the 2 new additions. That's like 7. So there's still room for another few more people on the board. Does that help, Tanya? Okay, thank you. Is anyone else have any questions about?
Does that sound like Tanya's interested in joining the board?
Oh boy. Okay. So Tanya, Ron's asking if you're interested in joining the board, but Tanya's been around for a long time with EarthCo, so she's one of our staunchest supporters for sure. And she's always willing to volunteer, I know that much. Okay, so she's not interested in joining the board at this time. But I know Tanya because I've spoken to her over the years, and she's always willing to help out and volunteer. So at least that's one good thing. All right. Well, thank you, Tanya. I would almost want to assume that there's no more questions coming forward or any suggestions or any of the sorts. So I'll just make it one last call out to anyone who wants to input anything, ask anything. All right. So with that in mind, we will get to the closing and the thank yous. So I'll just get to that. So I want to say special thanks to everyone who made it here. Like I said, this is our first Zoom meeting. So of course, there's maybe some people who are still not up to date with the kind of technology and we're missing out on them. But I guess the advantage is, you know, like for people, wherever you are, you can come aboard and be a part of the experience. So there's a plus, you know, so too bad we can't be together, and too bad there's some people who probably can't access what we're doing right now. But as the time dictates right now, this is where we are, and this is probably where we're going to go in the future. So in terms of that, you know, I just want to thank everyone who was able to come out and participate. We appreciate your support very much. We're looking forward to more of it. As we go on, we're looking forward to build on what we have, you know, and take it forward from there. I would like to thank all the board members for their volunteer. So I'll just stress that word, because as I mentioned before, like with EarthCo, when I came aboard, man, we had some good funding back then, and we were able to hire a staff who would coordinate everything for us. Unfortunately, maybe times have changed, but we're not able to access those grants like before. So we as a board have to put everything together for everyone out there, and we have to work with the partners, and we have to spread ourselves where we can. And I'll just say one thing for sure, like I do appreciate the work that Janet has done, because of all of us, she's the one that's more involved in the community, and Janet is out there everywhere, you know, helping to expand on what we have, helping to bring in other resources and all that stuff. And Janet, I think as far as EarthCo is concerned, you're like one of those real gems. You know, you came along at the right time and you basically held us up. And that's not putting any of us down, because like I mentioned, we all have other, you know, full-time opportunities that we take on out there. So like for everyone, Ron, Sharon, you know, whatever time you put into EarthCo, if it's an hour a day, if it's an hour a week, whatever you can afford, it's appreciated. And to the newcomers who are Shena, I think I got the name right, and Oda, we're looking forward to their contribution as well. And for others who are coming on later on down the road. All right, so I think this was a very great meeting, and I think historic and off to a good start. I guess we do have the regrets of not having the elder here to do the blessing on this day that we commemorate. I think that's the wrong word, but on this day, that's the day of reconciliation, you know, for all those children who I think their past issues is just coming to light for a lot of us. You know, maybe we're just oblivious to a lot of those things. But the minute the news start putting out there that they're finding more and more of these graves, and some of them unmarked, for me, man, it's very sobering and it's very touching. And I don't know how to place my emotions if I really focus on it, because you're talking about children who are innocent and they've basically been taken away from their culture, families, and all that stuff. And because of the systemic thing in this society which we live, you know, it's not going on just today, it's been going on for centuries. And of course, with our native population, it's dated back to basically the beginning of time in this great country of ours here that we live. So, you know, I just want to pay homage to everyone out there in the communities, you know, because we do owe them that much at least, you know. And going forward, hopefully at the higher levels, because there's only so much we can do, but governments and all those things, we'll be able to make some kind of reparation or come to some kind of peace with the community who actually own this land. So I'll leave it there. Before I go and before I close, like Carl, I actually have a book, but mine's just poetry. And most of the times when we do like these events, Janet knows, they'll invite me to just do a little thing or two. So for this one, I want to do this in closing, and it's a piece that I call Towards a Unity. And I will close with that. So it's called Towards a Unity. We're striving towards a unity that in many respects so far has been very elusive. Some members of our community have contributed neglect. Others have given all they can give. Divided, we're from our focus distracted. Opposite poles should to each other be attracted. Join together to form a united force that can conquer any past remorse. And the last stanza, which I think is key to everything that's going on here, because I think we don't all have to think the same, but you know, I guess basically if we work towards a common goal, you know, that's where the potential will be exponential. All right, final stanza. We are striving towards a unity that will only come in sight when members of our community join hands to make the work light. EarthCo membership, bless up yourself, big up yourself, and thanks for showing up. This, I think, was a very, very good meeting for the first one. Over to you, Janet, to take it home.
Thank you, everybody. I appreciate every one of you and ask you to keep you safe. I'm going to pass it on to Sharon for her goodbyes.
Yes, I'm delighted to see all of you here. Thank you so much for being a part of EarthCo and sticking with us through thick and thin. I ask that you would think about joining us. We all work together, so your strength or my weakness, will be your strength, and we come together as one. So please consider joining the board of ERDCO so we can accomplish a lot going forward for our community. Thank you. Ron?
And I want to thank the two interpreters tonight for your assistance. We really appreciate you and what you do every day. Leroy, I thank you for all you've done for ERDCO, for bringing me on board. Janet, you as well. Sharon, great seeing you again. I thank you all so much and have a blessed night, everyone.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. See you next year.
Hopefully before.
Stay safe.
Okay.
All right. Bye, everyone.
That was amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Alicia. Very nice to meet you in person. Thank you. Let's stay in touch.
You're welcome. Thank you guys so much for having me. Thank you. Sorry, my mic is up here. Sorry, got to put my mic up. Thank you guys for this opportunity. Thank you for having me. It's just amazing. I learned a lot. Thank you guys. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your organization. Thank you.
Now we know how to find you, Alicia.
Yes. Yes. So I will see you, or I hope to hear from you guys later.
Janet's got you on speed dial.
Sorry, my internet was a little bit choppy. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, that's
No,
okay. I just
Janet's
wanted.
got you on speed dial.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. It was nice to meet you all. Also, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Hope to see you in the future.
Yes. Yes.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you,
Have a good
Aya.
night. Enjoy your night, guys.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
You as well.
Thank you. Bye. You're welcome, guys. Thank you.
Okay. Good night, everyone.
Thank
Night.
you, Aya. Bye.
And
Okay.
Sharon,